Hi, GP. Good evening, and welcome to this session on Web3 marketing. Such a delight to have you join us this evening to share from your wealth of knowledge. I know you've been here before, and you can take the floor. Our audience are waiting for you.
You very
All
much.
right.
Thank you. Thank you for the
Can
call.
you?
Can you hear me?
Oh yeah. Sorry, I can hear you. My volume was low. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, loud and clear.
Awesome. Awesome. Great.
All right. Thank you, Valley Corp, for having me again. I mean, it's a pleasure again to speak with us tonight. So tonight we would primarily be talking about um, advanced strategies and career development, right? Of course, in terms of Web3 marketing. And it's an interesting topic because marketing is the backbone of every successful product or project. Nowadays, I like calling Web3 projects products because they are all products, right? Whether they're tokens, whether they're NFTs, even a community can be can be considered as a product. All right. So we're just going to be talking about interesting things here, and I'll be happy to hear or see if you have any questions. Okay, so first of all, let's talk about what a full stack Web3 marketing strategy is. Right now, you should understand. Now, like I already said that um, everything you're selling is a product primarily, right? So now let's talk in clearer tones and all that. Now, in Web3, when we are running a marketing strategy, we think about the product itself. We think about the community that's behind it. We think about the content that is used to create awareness, public awareness about the idea of the project or the products behind the project. We also think about partnerships. We think about data. All right. So these aspects are super important because they are the things that help you create an effective marketing strategy. So, for instance, you about the products, you need to have a very solid knowledge about the product, whatever it is you are trying to market. All right. For community, of course, every Web3 project needs a solid community behind it, a community of believers, a community of users, not just people in a Discord group. All right, you need content. I mean, content is basically almost everything. Even if you are going to be doing cold outreach, all right, you need solid content to go out that clearly communicates your offerings, that builds trust, that builds love, right? And then you need the right partnerships, right? We're going to come into that later on. Um, can everyone hear me, please? I want to be sure I can still be heard.
Yeah, yeah. Please go on. Thank you. Go on.
Okay, all right, super. So now, why is this important? Why do we have to talk about this really importantly? Now, okay, I mean, let me before I go there, I want to quickly highlight that there are very serious differences between Web2 marketing and Web3 marketing. I know I highlighted them um, before when the last time I was here, but I'm just gonna just go over them very shortly. Now, um, Web2 marketing is Web2 marketing doesn't leverage community as much as Web3 marketing does because the backbone of every successful Web3 project, primarily at scale, is community. All right, the primary thing you must understand is community, right? And then we are also going to quickly talk about the importance of aligning marketing with tokenomics and product roadmap. So now let's quickly talk about tokenomics and product roadmap and how it mixes with marketing. Now, You should understand that every marketing effort you make must complement and support the way your project token works. So I'm talking about Web3 projects that have tokens, whether either governance tokens or on-chain utility tokens. Do you understand? It must both communicate um, what your project token is used for or its benefits, and it must also communicate um, the stage where you are in. So we understand that before a project launches, some projects are usually very, very popular before the launch, like let's say before MVP or before TGE, all right? And then there are efforts that are being put in place to ensure that the project goes viral or the project builds a lot of mind share, all right, before TGE. There are efforts that go into that, and the efforts are a bit different from the ones employed at TGE or at launch and post launch. Now, why is this important? It's important so that you don't mismatch hype and utility. Now, you've seen projects that have a lot of pumps, and I mean they have a lot of hype before they launch, and when they launch, everyone is disappointed. They share dust or whatever. Now the reason is that they were not matching. They were overhyping the project beyond what it is, right? And people were expecting thousands of dollars or millions of dollars, and they were only getting they were getting little or nothing. Do you understand? So you need to actually communicate, right? It is super important. All right. And now another reason why it is super important is that is that for your investors, for your for DAOs and communities you are connected to, your marketing needs to reflect. Again, the list reflects what you're about and where you are, so that your investors understand that, oh, this is what these guys are doing. I mean, they understand that you are actually aligning with the roadmap you show to them. You are proving to them that you know exactly what you're doing. All right, you know exactly what you're doing. So before MVP, for instance, before launch, you are hinting on the vision of that project or that product. You are tapping into, you're speaking, you're tapping into people's emotions. Why should people care? Like, why should I care about your project? Why exactly should I care? I attended an event on Saturday, and I approached one of the projects in their booths, and I think one of my deepest concerns was, you guys are building this project, right? You guys are building this product. Okay, it's similar to what someone else is building. Why should I care about you? Why should I be concerned about you? Right? So before launch, you are hinting on the vision. What exactly does this project want to achieve? Does it want to help save people's time, or I mean, does it want to help people save their money by reducing gas fees? Does it want to make transactions faster? Does it want to help people to be able to maybe prove themselves on chain? Does it want to help people get better access to quality health checks and all that and all that and all that? Right now, at MVP launch, you want to communicate the problem solution, like the problem and the solution. So you're creating like a problem solution fit. We are talking about the problem that the product solves and the benefits of getting that product. All right. So now, so you are trying to achieve a problem solution fit. Like you already know that, oh, people really need this thing, but we need it as we need to scale. We need more people to be aware of what this project or this product does. So your marketing communication has shifted more from, oh, this is what we want to do, to this is what we are already solving, because you built something already. All right. And post launch, you are focusing more on utility. How well can this product or this project be useful? Right. That's why you see projects that have launched. They are talking about new updates. Oh, we've done this. Oh, we've added this. Oh, you can now integrate with this. Oh, you can now integrate to that. We've partnered with this. We now have 10,000 more users. Or we now have you can now, for instance, let's say it's a blockchain that allows you to transact fast, right? At maybe at launch, you would only spend 5 seconds. Post launch, they're telling you that, oh, all you just spend is 0.005 seconds. Do you understand? So communication is important. And another thing you must understand is that you want a solid marketing that builds trust. Trust is super important. Like if your users, or if yeah, they are your users basically. If your users lose trust in you, it's a very, very big problem, right? It's a very, very huge problem. You also want to ensure that your marketing can drive solid usage, right? So these things are super, super important. These things are super, super important. So, in essence, from what I just said, you are communicating what the product does, what if there's a token, what the token is for, right? And I mean, you are just communicating these exact things: problem, solution, and benefit. All right, problem, solution, and benefit. Now, let's quickly talk about how to build a Web3 marketing from scratch. Now, when trying to create Web2 marketing strategy, when trying to create a Web2 marketing strategy, you must consider five solid pillars. You must consider first your target audience and how to position. You must consider you must consider the community. How do you plan to build the community? You must consider social media and content. They are very, very important. You must consider your growth marketing tactics. Like growth marketing essentially is having more users at scale, like scaling to have more users, having more users. That's growth marketing. All right, getting prospects and converting them to loyal users that bring more prospects. And then you must also consider partnerships and influencers. Um, as we speak on, I'm going to talk about where each of these strategies will be helpful at every stage of growth of your project, because most of the times you cannot employ all five pillars at every stage of the project, because let's say at the early stage the project is not really known. At that early stage you might not be funded enough to be able to support some strategies. So I mean, let's just dive into it now. Speaking about target audience, see, you must understand your target audience. You must understand who you are building for. So you must, before you launch, you must consistently always go to the market, conduct surveys, cold DMs. Oh, you're researching around this. What do you think? You want to build this. What problems are you facing concerning this? Right? You are saying, and you are analyzing and engaging if the people you're talking to, or people you're thinking actually have this problem, are the exact people, or if you still need to niche down to be able to effectively have a very serious and solid market. So, who are your buyer personas? Are they investors? Are they devs? Are they NFT collectors? Are they DAO users? Are they freelancers? Are they consultants? Are they coaches? Whatever it is you're building, right? Then you must now communicate your value proposition clearly. Like in one word, you should be able to say your value proposition, and it must differentiate you from other competitors in the market. You must be able to do that simply. If you cannot say that simply to a 10-year-old, then you are probably communicating a complex. Now nobody understands complex stuff, right? Now, for community building, of course, you need to consider, where you would want to host the community. Is it going to be on Discord? Is it going to be on Telegram? I'm looking at like closed community, right? Another thing you need to consider is now choosing whether it will be Discord or Telegram. Sometimes depends on the user behavior. Some people prefer Discord over Telegram. Some people prefer Telegram over Discord. So you should be able to understand. You should be, from your surveys, you should be able to know that, okay, these people I'm marketing this project to. Where would they love to stay more, so that you can have a stable community. Another thing you need to okay, now under community building, you need to consider what is called onboarding loops and community segmentation. So an onboarding loop basically is where is like an onboarding process where this person gets, for instance, this person gets into this Discord community, bot welcomes them, and then maybe they have to introduce themselves for others to get familiar with them, and then prob- a lot of projects a lot of projects like to run quests. So immediately they are asked to start running quests, and then they get rewarded, and like that. With time, some of these quests will now require them maybe referring other people or posting on social media to get more people. So it's like a loop. It just keeps happening with more people that come. Towards the end of the tunnel, that new user has contributed in bringing one or two more people. So it's like a loop, and keeps going on and on like that, right? And then I talked about community segmentation. A lot of projects do it as well, where maybe you come into a community, you are like at level one, and then the next person is at level two. Then someone who has been in the community for like 2 months and has been active is at like level five. Now, the reason for this is so that you can be able to effectively communicate to people at different segments. So, another instance in the community, your product or project can be targeting maybe both developers and marketers, for instance. So, whoever is coming in, you want to segment them. Are you a developer? Click the developer option. Are you a marketer? Click the marketing option. So just in case you have an information for these guys, or you need to communicate to them, you need to market something to them, you can easily reach out to them via their segments. I believe that's super clear. And now another thing is gamification. I'm very, very big on gamification. I'm very big on gamification because gamification is one reason why for people who use Duolingo, gamification is the reason why people cannot stop using Duolingo because it is all gamified. Imagine you leave Duolingo for 2 days, you receive a pop-up notification that taps into your emotion, that makes you emotionally guilty. They are literally gamifying you, or they, they show you their streaks. They're like, oh, you've completed 29 days today. Wow, that's amazing. How would you feel if you completed the 30th day? That's gamification. They're gamifying it. You're like, okay, if I can complete this, I'll achieve this. And one good thing about Web3 is, especially for funded projects, there is money to incentivize people. So you need to create gamification into your system. You need to create a network effect as well into your system. I mean, you can collaborate with the developers to create a network effect. So a network effect is basically institution where that product becomes more useful as more people use it. So for instance, WhatsApp has created a network effect where the more contact you have, the more people you can chat, the more people you can reach out to if you're a business owner. That's a network effect. WhatsApp did not necessarily have to market to those guys and say, come and use WhatsApp. You reached out to them and said, oh, I think you should be on WhatsApp or something like that. Do you understand? So gamification, network effects are super, super important. Now, the next strategy you should consider is social media. What's your social media strategy? What's your content strategy? Where are you going to put, where do you want to exist? Do you want to exist on Farcaster? Do you want to exist on X? Do you want to exist on LinkedIn? Why do you want to exist there? You shouldn't exist on social media platforms just because that's what everybody's doing, right? Um, there are about three projects that will do well on TikTok. Some will do well on Instagram. Some will primarily thrive on X more than LinkedIn. And some will do a lot more on LinkedIn than they would on X. It depends on your target audience. Where do they exist more? Where do they exist more? All right. So you need to consider this thing. So for instance, developers hang out so much on Farcaster and X, sometimes more than X. I mean, sometimes more than LinkedIn. Do you understand? Sometimes people who really hang out more on LinkedIn are like VCs. A lot of VCs hang out on LinkedIn. Some hang out on X too. So you need to understand who exactly you're targeting. If you're targeting people who want to use NFTs, you cannot find them on LinkedIn. You find them on X. So you should just know where you want to exist. And then now, your content types. The content strategy. What's a content strategy? What's First of all, you should ask yourself, what stage are we in building this project? right? What stage are we in building this project? That would determine the kind of content you're sharing. That would determine um, um, if you'll be doing more of main content, or if you'll be doing deep dives to build authority. Now, of course, authority content are important for projects that are building very, very solid products. So for instance, OpenAI would do a lot of, I mean, they could leverage a lot of authority content because it positions them as an authority. They have serious competitors. They have they have DeepSeek, right? They have DeepSeek. They have other ones too that are coming at them. So they would do well with deep dives, authority content. They could also do well with okay, a product like, maybe let's assume ChatGPT is just coming on board. It could do a lot of tutorials. It could leverage a lot of tutorials. What's NFT projects sometimes can leverage AMAs. People want to understand, okay, how do I earn these? How do I make use of these? How do I get my NFT more valuable? For instance, protocols, right? They could also make use of AMAs. Do you understand? They could make use of tutorials to explain how to leverage the tech to, let's say, non-Web2 developers or budding Web3 developers. So you should understand, to build that content strategy, you need to first ask yourself, what do I want to communicate? What do I want to communicate? How do I want to communicate? How do I want to be perceived as a brand? That's going to determine your language. That's going to determine what kind of content you would be sharing. All right. That's going to determine what kind of content you'd be sharing. Now, another thing you should consider, another strategy, is growth marketing tactics. Of course, there are a lot of marketing tactics like airdrops, referral programs, bounty campaigns, and these things work effectively if your communication is solid, right? They also work effectively if you have strong partnerships. If you partner with micro niche KOLs, right? You partner with not necessarily influencers. Well, it depends on your kind of project. Some projects will do well with influencers. Some projects will do well with micro niche KOLs. All right, and now, okay, I already mentioned the fifth strategy, which is partnerships and influencers. You can also collaborate with protocols. For instance, let's assume you are a blockchain. Let's assume the project you're marketing for is a blockchain project. You can collaborate with protocols. All right, you can collaborate with DAOs. Okay, you can even cross promote with brands that with projects that complement what you're doing. So in essence, you want to think about all these things and say, okay, which do we push, which would work for us? And this happens when you understand what the project is all about. You understand the solutions it's creating, or the solutions it is creating. All right, so that's super that's super important. Now, real quick, I want to talk about budgeting and allocating resources for marketing. Now, you must understand that not all projects have equal amount of money. Some raise $2 million, some raise $10 billion, some just are just managing with grants of $5,000, $2,000. So they may not have, such small projects may not have so much funding for marketing. Now, let's assume the project has little funding for marketing. How are you able to allocate this budget? So let's look at the budget of, let's say, of less than $5,000. Now, of course, the team will be bootstrapped. There will probably be one front end developer, one back end developer. Maybe you might be the only marketing personnel on the team. So like a very, very small team. Now, at this point, what you'll be focusing on will be organic growth and community. I'm looking at it, and at this situation, oftentimes the project doesn't have much users, because if the project has much users, more money will be able to flow in, right? So the project doesn't have much users. So you want to focus on organic growth and community building, especially for projects who need large community to really thrive. Every project needs a community to thrive. However, some projects need it more at the early stage than the others. All right. So you at this point you want to allocate more funds to specific tools that help you generate leads. Alright, you want to allocate more funds to tools that generate leads. Then you also want to start looking into getting grants. You want to start looking into getting. You want to, yeah, grants is like the primary way to raise funds apart from VC funds. So you don't want to spend. You want to spend. Um, you want to spend more money on actual tools that help you generate leads, right? Or even if you have to, and also yes, you can also spend on KOLs, micro niche KOLs to help put the word out there for you. So you just want to spend more money on the exact things that move the needle. All right. So as the only marketing personnel, you are in charge of the social media. You're in charge of outreach. You are possibly in charge of community, or if you can just employ someone who would help drive maybe more conversations or more effectiveness in the community. However, it's for a small team, it's something that one person can manage. Now let's expand the budget to like say it's $10K. So with this, you can now expand your focus to brand building the brand, community engagement, product onboarding. You can now spend more time or more money on a lot of branded content, or maybe video explainers, or maybe a freelancing agency to help build PR, right? To help create more content, to help build more community strength. Do you understand? However, if you have a very very large budget, then you can now look at spending more money on user acquisition, or spending more money on partnerships, and then of course retention strategy. So you can now start sponsoring events, you can now start hosting IRLs, like physical events. You can now start supporting bounties and maybe supporting hackathons and all that, because now of course these activities will help you get more visible. You can now spend more money on more influencers, do more collaborations with DAOs that will just help amplify your reach. All right. So I already explained the necessary things you need to do at the different stages of the project. All right, at the different stages of the project. And now, okay, I think I've handled that. So quick one again. This a small budget helps you focus on trust and community building, right? A medium budget with a medium budget to trust and community building, you can now build more brand perception and do more influencer push. All right, do more influencer push. And then with of course a super large budget, you can probably run paid ads, or paid marketing campaigns, that's influencer marketing. And then you can support IRL events. Okay, having said that, I want to quickly talk about scaling marketing, how to move from startup to enterprise. We're going to quickly talk about creating a go-to market plan for MVP stage versus creating a go-to market plan for post-token launch. When I say MVP stage, like you've not launched, do you want to launch? What should be your go-to market plan? Right. We're going to talk about also when you should start formalizing processes, when you should start hiring specialized roles. Of course, because you cannot remain small forever. You need to expand as time goes on. Right. So let's talk about creating a strategy or preparing for MVP stage product or MVP stage project. Now, at on or before MVP, your aim would be to get feedback, because you're still building. You're still building for you're yet to launch, or even if you've just launched MVP, you are yet to achieve product market fit. So you want to know what the market wants, right? So you keep reaching out to your users or potential users to get their feedback. What do you think about this product? What do you just we want to run you a demo? What do you think about it? We are researching around this. What problems and concerns do you have? Right? You want to know the exact thing that you need to build for them, so that you can validate your product market fit before you now launch, before you now start thinking of scaling. All right. So you want to employ organic growth, like Twitter outreach, Twitter content, Twitter cold outreach, Discord outreach, reaching out to people on Discord in DAOs, in other projects, and all that. All right. You also want to maybe write blog content on places like Mirror, all right, just to get some level of visibility. And when creating these content, ensure that you are communicating the why. Why should people care? So you are communicating the emotional part of your value, of your benefits, right? So your communication, why should people care? That should be the major thing. What problem are you trying to solve? What's the vision behind what you're doing? What's the vision behind what you're doing? That's exactly what you're communicating. All right. Now, at post-token launch, you can now have a goal to acquire more users. You can now have a goal to retain your existing community, right? That's after you've launched your token. You can now you can now start making efforts to maybe defend your reputation, just in case they say, oh, you guys launched nonsense, or you guys didn't allocate enough, or your utility is dying. You can now Your effort will now be geared towards protecting the project's reputation, retaining the community strength, ensuring that people after getting your airdrop are not exiting your community, and then you're also acquiring more users. That would be your goal at that time. Do you understand? At this point, you can now hire, you can now hire more people. You can hire a community manager. You can hire a content marketer. You can hire a maybe a KOL lead or a PR lead. All right. You can hire a PR lead. You can even hire an analytics person to be able to analyze your users, right? Using tools like Dune. Analyze your users. Okay. Um, Analyze their behavior so that you can also market to them. Do you understand? You can also market to them. So now let's talk about when to formalize your processes and hire a specialized role. Now, at the early stage, I know I'm spanning this from early stage to growth stage, because I mean early stage to already grown stage. The reason is that you can find yourself anywhere, and you need to be able to perform. Sometimes you can find yourself in a small team, and the entire team is depending on just you for marketing efforts. And so if you don't understand the basics like this, it's difficult for you to perform, and you look incompetent, or you look like, oh, you can't really produce enough. Now at the early stage, um just basically one person runs content, socials, growth, and community. All right, everything is usually manual, fast paced, maybe not scalable at the time. And then when you now start growing, you can now start maybe formalizing. You can now start hiring specialists, like maybe one designer, maybe one data analyst, maybe an ecosystem lead. If you now want to scale the community to IRL, or to maybe maybe you're now having more people across different countries, come into the project. Do you understand? And then if it's really growing fast, you can now have someone that is in charge of events and partnerships. Because I mean, IRL events right now, IRL event marketing is becoming something so solid, especially if you have someone on your team who can represent you well. I made a tweet about this on Saturday. Nowadays, I don't get impressed. I don't get impressed with pitches I hear at events, and I feel like some of these projects, they are not making getting the best use of their money. Now, see, beyond now, let me quickly digress. When it comes to events, beyond just visibility, projects, these are businesses. Businesses need numbers. How many people can you activate for them? How many people can you onboard for them? That's why it's often good that as a project, if you are going to pitch at an event, if you're sponsoring an event to pitch, you must have something that new users can onboard with. So it could just be a ZD quest. Oh, come on this quest, and then you incentivize them, and then from there they now interact with other parts of your project. You don't just come and say, oh, we do this, we do that, we do this, everybody claps for you, and you go back to your seats. You just wasting the time and your money. That's the digression anyways. So whatever it is, you must make sure that whoever is representing you can engage your audience. They are not just giving a boring pitch, all right? They are engaging the audience. They are doing things that makes the audience who want to care about the project. And then there's something that there's a means of interaction right there, right? Right there while you're speaking. It's super important. Now, at enterprise level, you're already talking about, when I say enterprise level, like you're already very, very big. Let's imagine Solana, imagine Ethereum. You're thinking of, customer acquisition costs, the lifetime value of a user. You're looking at where the traffic is coming from so you can invest more there, right? You're looking at a lot of these things. Okay, you're looking at these things. So it's important that you are able to understand when to start hiring. As a small team, you cannot really afford to hire so much. In fact, you don't have so many users to handle, right? So let's quickly go on. The future trends in Web3 marketing. Now, one thing you must take note of is on-chain data marketing. Now you know that you cannot run ads. Now let me quickly explain something. I mean, many people don't run ads in Web2, right? No, but let's talk about ads marketing. Now, you know how you get on the website and then they ask you to save cookies and all that and all that. Those cookies are your data that the website receives about you from your IP address. I mean, I'm just imagining your location, your user behavior. They're studying where you went to on their website. So so they will use that to know what interested you the most. If you jumped off the website too soon and all that and all that. Now they do that in Web 2, right? And data companies sell this information to people who want to run ads. So Meta is a data company. They sell data. They sell your data to advertisers. Google is a data company. They sell your data to advertisers. The same thing with Twitter as well. Now, looking at it, if you want to employ that strategy in Web3, what you use is data analytics. So for instance, for your token, you probably have data of wallets that have interacted with with your token or your project, right? Now, let's assume you want to target the whales. Let's assume you want to target the whales, right? You can easily be able to or you can easily be able to read this data and see what exactly how exactly they interact with you, what exactly they do. Let's assume you are a blockchain, right? And then you oh okay no let's use NFTs. So let's say you just sold an NFT collection and you want to understand people's behavior around it. Are they reselling? Are they holding? Are they using it for what are they using it for if it's a utility NFT? Right? So you want to if you can study their behaviors with these NFTs and use it to market more, right? Use it for scaling purposes or use it for whatever it is you exactly want to do. All right. So you can one thing you need to look out for is on-chain data marketing. Now another thing you want to consider is community. You want to leverage community as a distribution tool because it is super important. So you want to create a situation where members can amplify your content or your holders or investors can evangelize your product. Now, product evangelism is an amazing thing. It is so good where everyone you don't need you are not begging people to talk about your project. People are talking about your project themselves. Community marketing is a very, very strong thing. And one thing that you must create around your community is evangelism. Apart from just incentivization now, what other thing is good about your project that makes people talk about it more? All right, and makes people talk about it more. Another way to leverage community as a distribution tool is through is by co-creating, having your contributors, having your users co-create content, co-create campaigns. right? That helps as well. It's just a means of um, you leveraging both users' network at the same time. Do you understand? It's a means of you leveraging their networks at the same time. So I mean, you want to understand. You need to understand how to use community as a distribution tool. Do you understand? As a distribution tool. Now, there's something called ZK powered identity, and it is used for ad targeting. Right now, running ad is not a primary thing in Web3, but people do it anyways. I believe you must have seen ads on Twitter. And one way they use to target these ads is by what is called zero knowledge proof. So they collect this data from different data sources. For instance, they could if they could collect data from data sources on how many people are, say, older than 18, how many people are from Asia, how many people love this, how many people love that, right? They just collect this data from different sources, and then they use it to run ads to these specific people. I mean, these data sources don't really expose their private information. Do you understand? So let's say you want to run an ad to people who have, let's assume, 3K dollars in their wallets, all right, or from they've ever done large volume transactions. You can run specific ads toward these people, and you get data from zero knowledge proof sources. All right, so it is something you want to consider leveraging while working with projects. All right. Um, yeah. So now, um, while you run ads, right? While you run ads, and while ads are good for effective marketing, your best distribution channel is a loyal community. All right, your best because you can run ads, and of course ads can be exhaustive, right? You could just have a limited budget for ads. But with community, if especially if your community members naturally just do evangelism, it will pay you the most. It's going to pay you the most. So you want to understand how exactly to build a solid community around your project. All right, a very, very solid community around your project. So I believe I've been able to um, explain how to create and manage a solid Web3 marketing strategy, how to build a solid full stack Web3 marketing strategy so that your project is able to thrive effectively. All right. I don't know if anyone has any questions, so I can answer. Then I'd give the assignments. Give your assignments.
Okay, let me just check the comment section on X. See if there's any. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, no questions so far. Go ahead and drop it here. I will share with them.
Oh, okay. Um, um, I guess I'm going to say out the assignment. Yeah, or do I have
All right,
to
all right.
still?
Great, great,
Okay.
great.
Okay. Cool. So your first assignment is okay. Your primary assignment is create a Web3 marketing strategy proposal for a hypothetical project. So think of any project that comes to mind, and then in your proposal include the target audience and positioning, include the community building plan, include the social media and content strategy, include your growth marketing tactics, Include your partnership and influencer plan, and then your key performance metrics. I'll say it again. Create a Web3 marketing strategy proposal for a hypothetical project. And this proposal is going to include number one, your target audience and positioning. Number two, your community building plan. Number three, the social media and content strategy. Number four, growth marketing tactics. Number five, partnership and influencer plan. Number six, your key performance metrics. So yeah, there you go.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. That was a really, really session. It was
Thank you
really
for having me.
great on today's live session. Thank you for sharing such amazing value with us this evening. So it's okay for them to reach out to you. Can they DM you, ask you questions and all of that?
Yes, definitely you can. On
Okay,
X, on LinkedIn, wherever.
okay. Good. Good. All right then. Any last words for us so that we can call it a night?
Oh yes. What I'm going to say is primarily understand whatever project or product you're working with. Always be open to learn. Always be open to build build a solid network of other growth marketing or Web3 marketing friends so that you don't feel stuck. Because sometimes you can feel stuck, especially when you are doing a very solid thing and everyone is just making noise. Do you understand? So it is really, really important that you build a solid network of people who are doing similar stuff like you so that you are able to move faster. And yes, the sky would only be a starting point. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. All right, guys, you've heard him. It's time to gonna apply everything you've learned and do your assignment. Don't forget to give him a follow, and also give us a follow and share this stream as well, so others can get the value inside as well. All right, so see you again tomorrow. We have a session tomorrow for product managers, and then subsequently like that for the rest of the week. All right. So thank you. Good night, sir. Good night, everyone.